Oh yeah, that song just makes you want to dance, doesn't it? Welcome to Spoiler City, my friends. It's been a while since I've done one of these live streams where I just get to come on here, shoot the breeze with you guys, and talk about a big theatrical project that recently came out. In case you didn't see the thumbnail, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania has been out in theaters for a few weeks now. It's doing moderately well in the box office in terms of financial returns. It's supposed to be their big Kickstarter to Phase 5, and it's gotten some pretty lukewarm reactions, aside from Kang the Conqueror, which we'll certainly talk about on this live stream. Go ahead and crack open a cold one if you have a nice drink in front of you. This is going to be a fun one, guys. I can't wait to kick back with you guys, talk about Ant-Man, answer any questions you guys may have that are trickling in as we continue forward. Um, I should note, I actually got this really nifty shipment from a good buddy of mine. It's he runs a store on Etsy known as Acronym, and he actually makes these really neat looking stickers. Check this out. This is actually a legitimate sticker from Acronym that I received of a famous movie quote. See if you can guess which one that is. Got a couple other ones over here. this is this is really cool. Shout out to you, buddy. This is really really freaking awesome. So go check out Acronym on Etsy. It's a really cool little shop over there. Go show him some love. He makes a whole bunch of little acronym stickers for whether it be laptops, water bottles, wherever you put your stickers nowadays. And they're all famous movie quotes. So it's a really neat little shop there. Go ahead and check him out and show your support. But let me go ahead and say hello to some people in the chat. Adrian Diaz is here, of course. Luke Ponto, of course, good friend of mine. I will be on his channel on Monday. So that should be a lot of fun. It's been a long time coming, Luke, for another collab. So Luke said he saw Quantum Mania twice in theaters. I wasn't intending on seeing it twice. I'll be honest, I wasn't intending on seeing it twice either. But you know what? I saw it opening day, and then my girlfriend came into town. She wanted to see it. So lo and behold, there you go. I saw it twice, and she actually had a lot of fun with it. And I actually feel like I might hold Quantum Mania closer to the heart more so than a lot of other people, because that was our first formal movie theater date together, was Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. So in that regard, the movie itself, you guys know how I feel about it. I had a lot of fun with it. Quantum Mania is very much a tale of two halves, though, with the second half, Kang the Conqueror, played by Jonathan Majors, the next big baddie for the multiverse saga. That is easily the highlight of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, as far as I'm concerned. The first half, I feel like, definitely meandered quite a bit. Well, let me ask you guys a question. Where in the world was Michael Pena? Where was he? Like I was sitting there watching this shit, and I was like, something is missing here. This movie definitely has the humor part, but Michael Pena was such a big reason why those first two Ant-Man movies were so funny. You know what I mean? Um, so like I was just sitting there and I was thinking, we really need to have like a full synopsis of what he went through in Endgame, Ant-Man and the Wasp, all that good stuff. Like release a series of shorts where Michael Pena's character just explains the plot of famous Marvel movies. I know they have a similar idea where Olaf from Frozen tells the stories of famous Disney movies in the style he did in Frozen 2. It's the best freaking thing. But I mean, if they want to make a series of shorts with Michael Pena where he just goes over famous Marvel movies and their plots in his Michael Pena style, like that's what I need in my life. Luke is asking what my favorite fight scene was from Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Let me know what your favorite fight scene was, my friends. Honestly, it's really hard to pinpoint one memorable fight scene. I got one for you actually. It's actually the scene where he dives down to retrieve the set of fuel for Kang the Conqueror for him to power up his ship so he can go conquer the multiverse. And the multiple Scott Langs who showed up, including the one where he's in the Baskin Robbins get up. That was such an inspiring action sequence, and it's so unlike anything else in the movie. I did enjoy the final fight, but not as much as I would have liked to have enjoyed it. They definitely teased that Kang the Conqueror was done and that he did away with the main Kang the Conqueror. But then, as one of the post-credit sequences indicates, of course, since Jonathan Majors is signed on for a big fat Marvel contract, you know, he's got to do more of these movies. That's just the way it is. But Lance, I got to say, what's up to Lance? I just subscribed to your channel and keep up the amazing work and content. Oh, thank you, Lance. I really appreciate that, my friend. If you're new, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. I am looking to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. You guys are chipping away at it. You guys are killing it. Love it. Smash that thumbs up as well. Really, really helps continue to grow this content. Luke liked Quantumania enough for what it was. I know, Adrian. I was about to say the same exact thing. Where the fuck is Michael Pena? You know, I don't know if it was like a contract dispute that he had with Marvel or what, but man, like his absence was sorely missed in Quantumania. Um, it's it's really tough to pinpoint why he wasn't in there. I don't know if it was a similar like creative difference like Sylvester Stallone had with the Rocky movies and everything like that, and the direction being the reason why he wasn't in Creed 3. But I mean, I kind of beg to differ. I think Rocky's story was very much wrapped up in Creed 2. And you know, it kind of that's the way it is sometimes. It is what it is. I saw it opening night with my family, and then my best friend called me up and invited me to see it with him. Yeah, I wasn't intending on seeing it twice either, but lo and behold, it's a fun enough little science fiction action adventure. And I know a lot of people are definitely comparing it to Star Wars in terms of the feel and how the quantum realm actually looks, the production design, everything like that. Um, and it's hard to disagree. There were a lot of sequences where Michael Douglas, rather. I was about to say Michael Pena again. That's what happens when you put two actors with the same first name in there. You constantly have me mixing them up. But and Hank Pym, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Hope Van Dyne are walking around down there. And it just feels so much like a Mandalorian episode a lot of the times, just in terms of how these costumes look, how a lot of these characters come across, how a lot of them are designed. Obviously, not the human characters, but the CGI characters. It looks really cool, but it really does feel like Star Wars. You could even compare King the Conqueror to Darth Vader in terms of how interesting he was. And while I'm on that subject, yeah, he was the best part of the movie for so many reasons. Jonathan Majors is a fantastic performer. He always has been. He always will be. And I think he proved it once again with Quantumania. 2023 really is the year of Jonathan Majors. I know he just did 2 straight #1 opening movies in the box office, which is an amazing accomplishment, especially for someone who is in 2 big blockbusters like that, playing the villain in both of them, no less. And I think he just continues to prove because he steals this entire movie just with his intrigue and everything like that and the mystique behind the character. I think it was presented really incredibly well. Luke says it was probably due to creative differences why Michael Pena wasn't in Quantumania. Either that or they weren't paying him enough money. I know Marvel, and I know it's unfortunate that Disney was laying a bunch of people off. And I don't want to say Michael Pena was a victim or anything like that. This is a podcast that's not really about speculation or anything, but it's a dicey situation. And Michael Pena should have been in this movie. I didn't mention him in my spoiler-free video, and I wish I did because that guy is just so damn talented. He deserves the world, and that character deserves the world. Luis is his name. Yeah, you would think that I would remember all these names as the big Marvel fan that I am, but anyway, you got to drink some nice little Beppis there, nice cold Beppis. Adrian, it did feel like Strange World, didn't it? There were a lot of amazing looking creatures over there that felt like, oh my god, this is right out of Strange World. Like those weird mitochondria tongue looking things flying around. Super bizarre, super strange, for lack of a better term. But I definitely agree with you. I basically think Quantumania is a much better version of Strange World. I mean, it's hard to disagree with that point, huh? Strange World is a movie that I have not rewatched, I'll be quite honest, since the movie theater. I thought it was fine in the theater. I have the Blu-ray. I just haven't gone back and revisited it, if I'm being honest. That movie, my girlfriend watched it, and she was like, "This is so boring." And she turned it off, like, I want to say halfway through, and she is a gigantic Disney fan. So take with that what you will. But Strange World, I didn't hate it. I like Jake Gyllenhaal's involvement. I think Dennis Quaid was a fun addition, but it just wasn't up to snuff with a lot of other Disney projects that we had gotten recently, especially like with Tangled, Frozen, and Kanto, and how successful all those were. Zootopia also, especially Zootopia, which is getting a sequel. Love that it's getting a sequel. By the way, let me know down in the chat what you think. What's the sequel? The Disney sequels that were announced. Which one are you most excited for? Frozen 3, Toy Story 5, Inside Out 2, Zootopia 2. Which one are you most excited for? And let's go ahead and debate that. So I think it's about time in this Ant-Man review that obviously I got to toast this. So we're about to get into some heinous looking bullshit here. You guys remember MODOK? Fucking hated that guy. So MODOK in the comments, it's an acronym for a mechanized organism designed only for killing is what it stands for, I believe. I could be mixing up a word or two here and there, but that's essentially what it is. He is played in this movie by Corey Stoll. Now, you might remember Corey Stoll as the man in the suit from the first Ant-Man movie, the villain in there. He was fun in the first one, but then you reveal his whole backstory about how he became MODOK and all this nonsense. And I just cannot get invested in it whatsoever because his design is so freaking bad. Like, this is straight out of The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl, right? He basically shows up. He's MODOK, and he's got the mask on, and he looks freaking intimidating and all that good stuff. You think MODOK is hilarious? I think he is hilariously dumb. But, God, I hated this guy. So MODOK comes on. He's got this intimidating-looking tribal mask on, and I'm like, this is going to be freaking creepy, isn't it? As soon as he removes the mask, and as soon as I see giant Corey Stoll in there looking like Mr. Electric from Shark Boy and Lava Girl, I was like, this just completely lost me. You're completely distracting me with how stupid you look. But I don't know if that was the point. I don't know if that was the whole idea behind the direction of this character, but my God. I mean, this movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, liked MODOK way more than I think the general public did. They were trying to present him as the redeeming character. They were trying to basically bring light to Corey Stoll's character the whole way through. And then when MODOK eventually does die, thank God, you basically zoom in and Scott Lang is like, you're an Avenger. And I'm like, no, he's not. No, he's not. Where was he when you were doing the time heist? Where was he when you were going through the quantum realm, going back in time and all this stuff? Now you're just labeling everybody an Avenger. You're just labeling anybody and everybody that helps you save the world an Avenger. You know? I don't know if that's the issue with all Marvel movies where all these heroes are Avengers now when they come together as a group, but it was maddening. It was maddening how much this movie loved MODOK, and I just freaking hated him so much. And it was like, you realize, number one, the design is terrible. And number two, when I'm sitting here wishing that this character was not on my screen, just serious go away heat, that tells you all you really need to know. Really tells you all you need to know, guys. Oh, yeah. So, okay, let's circle back real quick. Let's make myself feel a little bit better. Luke and Adrian both are most excited for Zootopia 2, the most anticipated of those four. Okay. This may be a bit of a slam dunk, but I think I'm most excited for Inside Out 2. And let me tell you why. Just because I feel like the way Zootopia wrapped everything up doesn't really leave the door open much for a sequel. Inside Out really doesn't do that either, but you could certainly see them going the Toy Story route where they're just like, oh, what would happen to these emotions once Riley grows up? And I think that's exactly what they're going to do. Maybe a bit of a predictable plot element here and there, but I don't know, man. I'm Inside Out to me is top 2 Pixar movie. There's days where I think it actually is my favorite Pixar movie just because of how well it's made. But I don't know, man. I love Zootopia. Like, this may seem like a hot take. I know. Just come at me all you want. But Zootopia is a top 3 Disney movie for me. Only behind Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin. Let that sink in to all the viewers watching live, all the viewers watching on the replay. Zootopia is a top 3 Disney movie. I said it. It's better than Frozen, better than Tangled. I like Zootopia more. I think it's a very, very important movie that you can show your kids, and they can still be entertained by it. You know what I mean? Does that kind of make sense to the chat? Does that kind of make sense to the group? But yeah, Luke agrees. Luke agrees. You know, it's not just me. I don't think it's a hot take, but Zootopia 2, definitely anticipating it. Toy Story 5 does not need to freaking happen. Like, as soon as they announced that and they said that Buzz was the main character, I was just thinking, where else do you go with these characters? Toy Story 4 might have been the end of Woody's story, but bringing back Tim Allen as Buzz after he had a mediocre showing in Toy Story 4, that doesn't make me want to see him again. Lightyear had his own movie. It came out last year. Go and enjoy that. I know a lot of people don't enjoy Lightyear. I love it. I love Lightyear. Even on a rewatch, I dig that movie so much. It's maddening. It's maddening that they did Toy Story 5. It's maddening that this is part of their plans. And I can't. I can't with that movie. Like, Frozen 3 is another one. I know, like, Frozen 2 wasn't entirely necessary. It's a comfort movie for a lot of people. I know. I know. My girlfriend loves Frozen 2. I like it fine. The first Frozen is undisputedly the better one of the two. Do they need to make a third one? No. But you know exactly why they're making it. Because the first two made a crap ton of money. And now they're just going to throw Frozen 3 out in theaters and they're going to be like, oh, we don't really need to have much of a plot. We can just kind of conjure one up. It's, I don't know. I'm at my wit's end with some of these projects, if I'm being completely frank. But Frozen 1 and 2 are over. I don't know if I'd say overrated, Luke. I think Frozen 1 definitely is the better. So I don't want to say Frozen is a top 10 Disney movie. I don't think I can say that much because Tangled is a million times better than Frozen, and you can fight me on that one. But I mean, I think it's Frozen is definitely in the top upper echelon of Disney movies when it comes to quality and story and just presentation, the feel of it. I love the wintry feel of it. It feels like a Christmas movie in a lot of ways, even though there's nothing to do with Christmas in Frozen. Like, it feels like something you'd watch every single winter. You'd want to get lost in it. Frozen 2 feels very mid by comparison. And I'm very concerned that Frozen 3 is just going to come out. It's going to make a lot of money, and nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care. They're just going to say, oh, yeah, I took my kids to see a Frozen movie. I went to go see a Frozen movie in theaters. If it's your first time, I don't know. I saw both Frozen movies in theaters. So it's maddening that those are the ideas that they came up with. I just want to see more original ideas. Like Encanto was an original idea. Zootopia was an original idea. Inside Out was an original idea. Like, you can't bank on nostalgia forever. I know a lot of these characters are kind of immortal in a lot of ways, but there's no way that you can make them lasting and make a whole bunch of new stories with them, you know? So if I'm nitpicking one little thing about Disney, then I'd like some more originality thrown in there. That's all I ask for. That is all I ask for. Luke likes the first one okay, but they're both just not my thing. They're not a lot of they're not a lot of people's things. You're not alone in that regard. So, getting back to the Ant-Man subject, the final fight scene, I really dug it. I really enjoyed the joke of Cassie turning into a giant as well. And she's like, yeah, I really want some citrus for some reason, like limes, oranges. Like, it's a direct callback to Civil War, which I definitely appreciated because if you remember that airport sequence, which still is supreme tier when it comes to Marvel action fights, at the end of that whole big battle, Scott Lang shrinks down to his normal size after being a gigantic King Kong like Ant Man. And he says, does anyone have any orange slices? I love the callback that they made in Quantumania to the citrus part. And might I add, I know it's kind of a controversial topic recasting Scott Lang's daughter. I think Catherine Newton did a great job. I think she definitely captures the wondrous innocence of this character who is just completely in awe of everything her father's doing. She definitely idolizes her father in this. So I think she understood the assignment given the circumstances. And I can't wait to see more from her. One thing I would like to mention though, thinking more and more about it on a rewatch, isn't it weird to you guys that they just kind of were like, oh yeah, she has a suit now. And Scott just has one little piece of dialogue where he's like, oh, you have a suit? You didn't think to tell me? Okay, yeah, no, we're moving on. And as an audience, we're just kind of supposed to accept that. And I was like, okay, so explain how she made the suit, explain how she got the suit, and explain how she got the powers. There's a little piece missing in there. Like you see her, you're introduced to her character, and she's robbing people. She is bringing a shrunken police car back to the officers in the station after she's bailed out. But like you don't see the evolution of her character. We're just supposed to basically accept that she is a young Avenger at this point. And I'm like, you got to do more than that, man. You got to do more than that. I can't just sit there and accept the fact that she is now a young Avenger. You got to give more. Definitely felt like style over substance to me, bro. I don't know. Luke says that the final fight scene was a lot of fun for me. Some of the jokes in the film were just off in regards to where certain scenes were going. Um, I thought the humor in the movie was fine. I like the fact that Scott Lang was basically assigned to basically write a book about the time heist and everything like that, returning the Infinity Stones back. It's like I like that he's a best-selling author and everything. Um, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's the jokes I thought were I liked the fact that he goes back to Baskin Robbins as the employee of the century just because he's Ant-Man. I like that whole sequence that you see in the trailer. And again, props to Marvel for not giving everything away in the trailer. But the majority of what you see in the final Quantum Mania trailer, it's all in the first act. Those are all big key points that they hit in the first act. This is why you should see the movie. Here's why you should get invested in these characters rather. Um it's really interesting. Marvel really understands. I feel like a lot of people have PTSD from Batman v Superman giving us too much information about the plot, revealing that Wonder Woman was in the movie despite it being a surprise appearance, you know? Like I feel like I say this all the time, but if you go and rewatch that final Batman v Superman trailer, it is just the plot of the movie, beat by beat. The only thing they don't give away is that they kill Superman. That's the only thing they don't give away. And even then, even when you go and watch the movie, they completely backtrack on that. And they're like, whoa, wait a minute. We're not going to do that. Don't worry. We're not actually going to kill Superman. But lo and behold, that's exactly what they did. They gave you the whole plot of the movie. Marvel thankfully understands that you just can't sell your movie if you give the whole plot away in the trailer. You just can't. You can't do that. That's why movies don't like that's I don't think Batman v Superman's like box office return was even that high necessarily. It would have been a lot bigger if that trailer did not give away any of those surprises. Guaranteed. What's up? Got to say what's up to Jovan in the chat right here. For a movie full of exposition, we missed that backstory. Brother, you don't say. You don't say. Cassie Lang, I think, has a lot of potential to be a super likable character, and she had so many amazing moments, which I should also talk about the ooze guy. So, Scott Lang and his daughter basically split off from Hank, Janet, and Hope, and they're exploring the quantum realm. And they come across this cult-like group down there, and they're doing this really like obscure foreign chant at them. And Cassie, all she says to Scott is "Drink the ooze," and he drinks this blood-like substance out of this big glob creature. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he drinks part of him, which is a weird freaking sentence. Drinks part of him, and now he's suddenly able to understand it. You're suddenly able to understand the chanting. And everybody, of course, is chanting "Drink the ooze." I really like a lot of these characters that they introduce. Was I going to remember them a week from? Was I going to remember okay. I don't want to say these characters are forgettable, but by comparison to a lot of these Marvel, like a lot of these iconic Marvel movies, these side characters and these side comic reliefs are not the most memorable by comparison. Adrian, Catherine Newton's acting, though, a lot of people talk. Do people talk about her acting, though? I don't think she was that bad, guys. I really don't. I thought she was definitely trying her damnedest. I don't think she came across as fake to me or disingenuous. I think she definitely came across as a, how do I put this? It was a very like whimsically charged performance. Like she was in awe of all of her surroundings. She's in awe of her dad, and she wants to follow in his footsteps so badly. And the fact that he was teaching her how to fight throughout the movie, I guess that's kind of how you fill in that backstory. But like, how did she get the suit? How is she able to know how it works right away? Doesn't make sense. Oh, Luke, that's why I stay away from most trailers since since they give too much shit away. Example is with Fast X. Oh God, don't even get me started, man. 3 minutes and 40 seconds of a trailer means it's actually going to be 3 hours and 40 minutes in the theater. You guys really don't want to see a 3-hour Fast and Furious movie. You really don't. But yet some people are still going to shill their money. They're going to go to the theater and they're going to see this thing, and it's going to suck, but it's still going to make a lot of money. Like, I'm telling you right now, guys, The Rock does not do these movies anymore, not just because of his personal feud with Vin Diesel and the fact that they resent each other, but he also knows what a good script is now. Nobody in the chat say that Black Adam is a bad script. I enjoyed that. I mean, that may be an exception, but you know what? The Rock still has enough good movies to his name where he can be like, okay, I can stand on my own, and I don't need the Fast and Furious movies. I feel like the only reason that Vin Diesel went and got John Cena to play his brother was mainly because he felt like he needed his wrestler. He needed his wrestler. And John Cena is arguably the second biggest name in Hollywood, just under The Rock, when it comes to wrestlers turned actors. All due respect to Dave Bautista. He may be the best, but John Cena and The Rock, nobody touches them on a fame level. Look at trailers like the first trailer for Knock at the Cabin. It only showed the first act. That's how you sell a movie. Only showed you basically the given circumstances, what the movie is, and it doesn't give anything else away. I think Shyamalan and the marketing team behind that, Dave Bautista's performance was freaking phenomenal. Knock at the Cabin is one of my favorite movies of the year so far. Like, I know it's still only the middle of March. We're coming up on St. Patrick's Day of all times. 3 years removed from, the COVID pandemic being deemed a pandemic and all that, which is nuts how far we've come since then. But like, It's Knock at the Cabin, Creed 3, Scream 6 for me is my top 3 in no particular order. Obviously we still got 9 more months to go of 2023 to pad out my top 20 list, but I don't know, man. There's a good shot you'll be seeing Creed 3, Knock at the Cabin, and Scream 6 all at the end of the year. Dude, amen. Knock at the Cabin was awesome. It was awesome. It was awesome. Thank you. I freaking love that movie. M. Night Shyamalan, he legitimately gave us his best movie since Signs. And I am fully in the camp of that. I will bat for Knock at the Cabin until the cows come home. That is Shyamalan's best movie in over 20 years. I will take that to the bank. Black Adam was fun. The script was good. Yeah. It's a little bit, I don't want to say it's a terrible script. I don't want to say it's a phenomenal script either. It's very by the numbers, very par for the course when it comes to superhero movies. There's a lot of fun characters in there. Absolutely. I could sit here and argue that the characters in Black Adam more memorable than the side characters in Quantumania. Just saying. Love freaking Hawkman. Love Dr. Fate. They got Pierce Brosnan to play Dr. Fate. Like, can you think of better casting? I mean, you probably could. You could think of at least 50 other instances of better casting. But my point being, it's a really solid choice. But I'm just trying to think of anything else I miss in regards to Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania spoilers. We talked about MODOK. We talked about the final fight. We talked about Cassie Lang, not having a backstory yet having a suit. We got to talk about the post-credit scenes, don't we? So, in the final fight scene, it's practically revealed that Kang the Conqueror has been defeated soundly by Scott Lang, sent into a whole other dimension. But little do we know that he is assembling an army of Kang variants like you've never seen before. Seeing a million Jonathan Majors just screaming at each other and just hyping each other up, that's a visual that I don't think I would ever see in a movie. And I'm freaking stoked to see where Kang the Conqueror goes from here. He is such an interesting villain. I would argue he is top 5 MCU villain for sure, if not top 3. Just the way that he presents himself and his poise on screen, it is just unsettling how scary Kang is. So freaking cool. But with that in mind, one variant that you see in the second post-credits scene is of Victor Timely back in the 1920s, who is this illusionist, if you will. He's a magician. He can time travel, basically, is his whole gimmick. And he's up there giving a spiel. And then the camera cuts to see Tom Hiddleston as Loki in the audience staring at him in terror. And all he says is, "That's him." And then you see Owen Wilson as Mobius M. Mobius sitting next to him. And he's like, "No, wow, that can't be him. Oh, my word." And like, all I was thinking, I was like, give me Loki season 2. Because yes, Loki is still my favorite Marvel show that they've put out. Moon Knight is a close second. I don't think anything touches Loki, at least in my eyes. I know a lot of people love WandaVision. WandaVision doesn't even come close to Loki, in my opinion. Loki was so freaking captivating. I think it set up the future of this Marvel Cinematic Universe, if you will, masterfully. Can't freaking wait for season 2 to hit. Can't wait for Ke Huy Quan to get some more amazing work like that. And by the way, I feel like I should mention this. What was your biggest reactions about the Oscars? Because my last live stream that I did here, because I think at this point we've basically covered all of the Quantumania spoilers, unless I missed something. If you have another question about Quantumania, let me know down in the chat, and I'm already seeing one that I will get to. But what'd you guys think of the Oscars? Mentioning Ke Huy Quan, that right there might have been one of my favorite Oscar speeches of all time, if not my all-time favorite Oscar speech. This guy, I mean, the fact that the Goonies are still a family and everything like that, and the fact that he's thanking his agent who played Chunk in Goonies, like, It's freaking awesome. And it's so inspiring to see a comeback story like that. And I can't wait to see what else he does. Brendan Fraser. I'll be honest. I didn't think he was going to win. I thought that was Austin Butler's to lose, but I am over the moon so happy for Brendan Fraser. I think he absolutely deserved it. I did get a chance to watch The Whale, and freaking great performance. That's all I can say. Freaking great performance. Definitely. I guess that answers Luke's question. Have you checked out The Whale yet? I have. Brendan Fraser was awesome. Definitely worthy of not just the nomination, but the win. And I think it's just crazy that both male actor winners this year both come from Encino Man. I think it's time to throw some love on Encino Man. That's a hidden gem these days. My favorite win was Brendan Fraser. Here we go. I feel like Bill Murray's part in the film was completely pointless. So what he's referring to is we see Bill Murray pop up in that Mandalorian-inspired scene that I was discussing with you guys earlier. And he goes up to Janet Van Dyne. He's an old friend of hers. Janet Van Dyne is trying to stop Kang the Conqueror from taking over the whole multiverse because of a connection that they shared in the quantum realm. Bill Murray was incredibly brief. His whole gimmick was basically getting swallowed up by a giant version of that thing he was just munching on in that alcoholic style drink. But Bill Murray is one of the most legendary actors still alive right now. And that's all they had for him. That was all they had for him. It's almost like if you took Jeff Goldblum as the Grand Master, just had him in 2 minutes. If you watch Thor Ragnarok, Jeff Goldblum is all over that thing. He is all over that thing as the Grand Master, and it's freaking glorious. Bill Murray just has that one scene. I don't get it. Really don't get it, guys. But Bill Murray's part, completely pointless. Okay, Jovan, the sweetest moment was when Janet and Hank are talking about their needs, and when Janet asks why it didn't work out, Hank says she wasn't you, sweetheart. Yeah. Hank Pym is, yeah. Love that character. Another thing, freaking laughed at the fact that he was so hesitant to drive that ship out of there just because of the method to drive that thing. You have to stick your hands in these slimy alien arm things to get that thing out of there. It's certainly a movie that is out there in terms of ideas once they get down into the quantum realm. But I just couldn't help but laugh at the reactions. And another important thing that I dare not forget to mention, Janet Van Dyne was integral to the plot of this movie. Michelle Pfeiffer, I thought, was brilliant in the role, but the way she was written, to me, made her seem a little bit unlikable to me. And I'll explain why. If she has this connection with Kang the Conqueror, and if she is basically trying to stop him from taking over this multiverse, and she's not explaining why he's such a threat to her close family members, who she supposedly trusts with her whole life, the same family members that saved her in the last film, just did not understand that decision. Really did not understand that decision. It really made her come off like this really secretive, manipulative, deceiving person. Like, that's not how Janet Van Dyne should be. She should be the heart and soul of this movie. Basically encountering her the ghosts of her past and explaining why he's such a threat. But then she doesn't explain why to these people. Disappointing. Absolutely disappointing. But aside from that, I really dug Quantumania. I thought it was a lot of fun. But those things are just not forgivable, I don't think. Okay. I'm kind of sad that Banshees and Fablemans didn't win any Oscars. Yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a very worthy Best Picture winner. I was very close to like putting that at the top spot in my movies of last year. But honestly, last year's list was so tough to make because I loved all those movies that I put in my top 10, especially as you get into my top 8 in that video. All those, I feel like if they were released any other year, they would have been number 1 easily. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once, if it came out this year instead, would have blown the other movies away. I don't think the movies this year are going to hold a candle to what we got last year. Luke did check out Fableman and loved it. Oh man. Let's talk about Babylon for a second, huh? You guys ready? I don't know if you're ready. Let me take a sip. Okay. Babylon infuriated me. Let me tell you why. Damien Chazelle made what I have said for a long time was my favorite movie of the 2010s in La La Land. As an aspiring actor going out of high school, that movie basically captured everything about what it takes to get into that business. Damien Chazelle blew me away. And even before then, Whiplash, instant classic. First Man, really good movie. Really liked First Man. Babylon, there's good sequences in there. Love the film shoot sequence where Margot Robbie is sweating in that studio trying to deliver her lines and all that, but she struggles to get it out. She struggles to get her dialogue out. And it just feels to me like, oh my God, that is just so much stress in everyday jobs. We all experience stress somewhere. And that scene right there in Babylon captured the stress of the situation so well. And then you fast forward all the way, and it's a 3-hour movie, mind you. We had 3 hours to get to this point. But basically, the ending of the movie was Damien Chazelle telling people, hey, people, I still exist. Hi, Academy, please vote for me. I get the idea of what he was going for. I really do. I get that he's going for this, like, awe-inspiring sight of Diego Calva's character going into the theater and just being starstruck by the silver screen. Just being in awe of what he's seeing. In that case, don't put any dialogue in there. Don't put any narration. Because what Damien Chazelle did is what he basically went, I am here in Hollywood to make a difference. And then it shows like this big montage of all these groundbreaking Hollywood movies. You have Avatar over here, which is a bold statement, because Avatar is very polarizing. You have freaking the jazz singer over there. You have the Wizard of Oz in Technicolor. And it's like, it came off to me very pretentious. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love Damien Chazelle. I really do. But absolutely disappointing movie for me. Probably the most disappointing movie of last year, the more I think about it. Doing a watch along for the first Puss in Boots. Go check out Luke Ponto's channel for that tomorrow. Jovan, I'm cautiously optimistic about season 2 of Low Key. Well, I'm excited about season 2 of Moon Knight. So, season 2 of Moon Knight hasn't been formally announced by Marvel Studios as of this recording, if I'm not mistaken. Low Key season 2, I believe, unless they delay it to next year, which I really hope does not happen. I really love that Marvel is spreading out their projects to make things seem more like a big-time event like it used to be in Phase 3. But I get what a lot of people are saying with the universe feeling oversaturated now with all this content. I, for one, personally didn't mind it just because the comic book world is so vast as it is. Why not bring it to movies? I think people digest movies differently than they do comic books. But with that said, I can't wait for Loki season 2 to come around. I really, really cannot wait because that show brought me so much joy in a time when I desperately needed joy. And Loki season 1 brought it, man. It really did. I was in a dark place when that came out. Not to get too personal about it, but I owe a lot to that series, and I owe a lot to Marvel Studios for dragging me out of it. So, in any regard, Quantumania was kind of disappointing since it's my most anticipated Marvel movie. It's I don't want to say it's disappointing, but it's certainly not a movie without its flaws. Everything that had King the Conqueror in it, pitch perfect. Chef's kiss. Wouldn't change a thing about it. But a lot of the other character developments surrounding King the Conqueror, not ideal. Not ideal. Everybody in the chat and everybody watching on the replay, name your 3 biggest snubs in the Oscars this year. Nope did not get a single nomination, even though that was my favorite movie of last year. Did not show Jordan Peele any love whatsoever. Didn't give him a Best Director nomination. Probably wouldn't have won, but at least give him a nomination. Didn't even nominate him for screenplay. Didn't even think to nominate Keke Palmer, who I would argue had a huge comeback year, much like Ke Huy Quan. Maybe not so much on his level, where he was out of the limelight for a couple of decades. What was the last big project Keke Palmer did? Like True Jackson VP, maybe? Has to be, right? It has to be. Ralph Fiennes for The Menu. That's another one. That Best Actor category, I love Brendan Fraser, but if Ralph Fiennes was nominated, would have blown him out of the freaking water. Ralph Fiennes, in my opinion, gave the best performance by anybody last year in The Menu. And the Academy did not even think or give him the courtesy to nominate him. Sucky. Mia Goth. Oh, Paul Dano in The Fabelmans is another one. I would have nominated him for Best Supporting for The Batman, actually. Wouldn't have surprised me if he was nominated for The Fabelmans, but he picked 2 good movies last year to put his stamp on things. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I'm not emotionally prepared for someone to die. Someone? I'm thinking we get more than one death, man. I really am. James Gunn is riding off into the sunset figuratively with Marvel, and he's going to go out with something so memorable and so emotionally charged, so emotionally satisfying. It's probably my most hyped movie of the year. That and Dial of Destiny, both, I think, are tied for that number 1 slot right now. But, man, like, the first Guardians movie, so much nostalgia with it. It's crazy me saying that a movie from 2014 is nostalgic now. How old does that make you guys feel? But I think he's just going to throw his all into it. I think these actors throwing their emotional weight into everything. So, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, Mia Goth for Pearl, Ralph Fiennes. Yep. The Northman should have been nominated for cinematography, huh? The Northman. Okay. I'm just going to say it. That was Robert Eggers' weakest film. Not to say it's bad. Not to say it's bad at all. But of the 3 he's made, I think I like The Northman the least. Just because it feels to me like, okay, you've seen this story before. I know it's based off of the Norse poem that inspired Hamlet, which is one of the famous plays of all time. But it's like you watch The Northman and it's like, I'm just watching Hamlet. If you had no idea what the source material was, I understand if a casual audience member walked into The Northman and was like, I'm just watching Hamlet. I mean, go back and watch my review. I didn't even know the basis of this poem was the first thing that came out. And then Hamlet came out after that. And William Shakespeare was like, oh, that's a cool blueprint. I'll just use that to write my most famous play of all time. You know? Interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, it's definitely a beautiful looking movie. I don't know if I would have nominated it for anything else. Top Gun for cinematography. Why did that not get nominated? What won? All Quiet on the Western Front? Yeah, All Quiet on the Western Front won cinematography. If Top Gun was nominated, All Quiet on the Western Front did not stand a freaking chance. Did not stand a chance. I just hope they don't kill off Star-Lord, Luke. I'm going to hold my tongue on predictions. Just because I do not want to look stupid on the air. Just in case anybody wants to go back and rewatch this podcast or anything like that. I'm not one to speculate too much. Not really one to speculate. I rewatched Nope recently, and I do think it's a very good movie, but honestly, not as good as I thought it was. I don't know what movie you were watching, man. I fucking love Nope. I still do. It's so freaking entertaining. Really brings you back to the old style Steven Spielberg movies. Steven Spielberg, I said in my best of the year countdown, if The Fablemans was about the influence, Nope is the result of it. It's the result of it. And I think Steven Spielberg, man. I mean, I'm gonna miss that guy when he retires. And speaking of retirement, I think I should mention it was revealed that Quentin Tarantino's final film was in development, which honestly I thought he was gonna stop at 10 anyway, so it doesn't ultimately surprise me. But man, I'm not ready to see his last movie because I think aside from Death Proof, consistently, all of his movies are at least good to great, if not phenomenal. Like, he is probably, say what you want about Tarantino, but he is probably one of the most consistent filmmakers to ever live. Like, I can't think of one piece of crap movie from Quentin Tarantino. I really can't. He's really really awesome. Uh yes, Luke, I will add those to my list. Lindsay is not emotionally prepared for Guardians 3 either. I'm not either. I'm just going to be bawling my eyes out in the theater. You're going to have to scoop me up off the floor out of the puddle of my own tears after they kill off Drax and possibly Rocket as well. And yeah, I just said I wasn't going to speculate, but that's what I think. Drax is going to be biting the dust. Top Gun was my favorite movie of last year, and I don't know why it wasn't nominated for cinematography. I don't know either. You know, I would have accepted Top Gun winning Best Picture just because of what it did for blockbuster cinema, especially 2 years after the pandemic. Like, we thought movie theaters were going to be freaking obscure, obsolete, didn't know what the future was going to be of movie going, especially once COVID hit. Top Gun Maverick comes out, proves everybody wrong. Theater movie going is back. And honestly, I still think, and I wholeheartedly believe, the movie theater is a special freaking place. And we should make sure that we all do our best to preserve them. Here I am coming off like an environmental advocate there. HH Knight, thanks for coming on to the stream, man. I doubt any of the Guardians team will die. My friend, I respectfully disagree. And I'll tell you why. Because James Gunn, like I've said earlier in the stream, he's gonna ride off into the sunset in the Marvel world, and he's gonna focus on his DC brainchilds. Which, fun fact, he was just announced to direct Superman Legacy coming out in 2025, the bajillionth Superman movie to come out in theaters. So we'll see what he does differently with that story. I think it'll be at least fun. But I think with how influential the Guardians movies have been to a lot of people, myself included, he's going to want to make this final volume as memorable as humanly possible. He's going to want to make it as emotionally charged as possible. So someone's got to bite the dust. You know, like whether it's Drax, whether it's Mantis, I don't think it's going to be Mantis, but like I don't know how else you can make a movie as emotionally driven as it is without killing off one of your main characters. Honestly, don't see how you could do it. Supposedly, each Guardians of the Galaxy movie titles correspond to the colors of the character that dies in that movie. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Look at the Guardians 3 logo. It's yellow. It's yellow, and it's got like a gold tint to it as well. Who's it going to be? Maybe not. Maybe HH Knight is right. Maybe no Guardians team members will die. But with this being James Gunn's last movie in the Marvel Universe, Luke, I agree. Not just hoping it's going to be great. I know it's going to be great because I believe in James Gunn. Oh, man. You want to see Paul Walker do something better than Fast and Furious? Dude. Anything is better than Fast and Furious. Anything. Like, name any movie off the top of your head I guarantee you it is better than Fast and Furious. It really is. F9 was the straw that broke the camel's back because they were freaking like just sitting there. Vin Diesel was like, oh, yeah, let me take my family up into space, blah, blah, blah. Let's actually send cars up there. And they actually do it. They actually do it. They freaking send a car. They send Tyrone Gibson up into space. And he's like, oh, my God, I'm in space. I'm like, yeah. And now your franchise is dead. Now your franchise is dead. You can bring in Jason Momoa all you want to play your villain. He's probably going to steal the show. All things considered, he might be the saving grace of Fast X. I'm not looking forward to it. Not looking forward to it. But, well, how about Morbius? Movies and trains. Oh my God. You gotta do that. What's up, my friend? How are you? We're just we're having a great time here. They just got me into a Fast X rant, and he just piped in with the how about Morbius comment. Here, let me pull it up. Sorry. I'm glad people agree with me about the F9 mess. Because that's what it is, a mess. And I do agree, Super Mario Brothers is probably going to be better than Fast X. And I should actually, that brings up a good point. Just to kind of talk about some, I do have a few announcements to make about this channel. Definitely, I'm going to review Shazam as I plan. I'm going to go to opening tomorrow for Shazam. And then I'll review that, so look forward to it. I have actually completed editing my first review in the Pirates of the Caribbean series, Curse of the Black Pearl. It's a really fun video. It's 12 minutes long, but it's a really nice little analysis there, I think. So go ahead and give that video a look once I upload it. And then next week is John Wick 4. After that, when it comes to blockbuster movies, if I do film, it's not going to be in my normal studio for the next few reviews because I am going to be going down to LA from March 30th all the way up through Easter. I'm going to be down there for WrestleMania, and then I'm going to go see my girlfriend. We're going to go to Disneyland. It's going to be a freaking awesome time. It's going to be the vacation of my life. I think it's a much needed vacation with how busy I've been in just all aspects of life. Not that I don't love YouTube and not that I don't love you guys, obviously, but I need a bit of a break. So I am going to come back completely refreshed. So I would not expect reviews for Dungeons and Dragons, Super Mario Brothers, or Air, the Ben Affleck movie. I wouldn't expect reviews for either one of those three until I come back from LA. Push comes to shove, maybe, just maybe, I'll review Mario out of the studio just because I know a lot of you are like really anxious to hear my thoughts on that movie, and I really appreciate it. But in the off chance in the chance that it doesn't happen, I'm just going to ask you guys to please bear with me when it comes to the release of the Mario review. Jovan's going to go into Shazam with an open mind. Movies and trains. Not looking forward to watching the new Shazam. Oh my God. What's with all this DC hate? I mean, I know the Flash and they who must not be named are involved, and it's like, it's going to reset the whole universe. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Zachary Levi is going to be, he's going to keep his spot. They didn't let The Rock keep his spot, but, it's teach their own. The Batmobile and the Batman to me was disappointing in comparison to the Tumbler in Dark Knight. Oh, man. I'm still torn on which one I think is better. I'm still so torn. Part of me wants to say The Dark Knight, but Matt Reeves just did so many things incredibly right with the Batman. It's a toss-up for me. Let's see. Seeing Shazam on Sunday. Hyped for Shazam. Luke may be the only person in the chat that's hyped for Shazam, but oh my goodness. This is a fun stream, guys. I have movies and trains. Haven't seen F9 yet, but I'm not looking forward to it. And I'm sure Mario is going to be 100% better than Fast X. Well, you know what? Movies and trains, you're wrong. You're wrong on that 100%. I think Super Mario Brothers is going to be 200% better than Fast X. Calling it. Fast X is going to be one of the worst movies of the year. Just imagine if there are 30 of those. then fill in the blanks with those Roman numerals, and you see how funny that is. But guys, I think that's just gonna about wrap it up here from me. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. Thank you for tuning into this shortened edition of Spoiler City, and thanks for throwing a bunch of fun, hard questions at me. It was a lot of fun to get on here and vent with you guys, rant with you guys, and vibe with you guys. It's always so much fun. If you want to go ahead and follow me on my social media, it's just going to be at Zack Goller on Twitter. It's exactly how my name is spelled. If you're new, smash that subscribe button because, like I said, we're on the road to 2,000. I'm hopeful that we can get there by the end of the year. Just keep killing it, guys. We're getting there. We're getting there. Hit that thumbs up as well. That's an insane help to this channel. It's an insane help to all of us continuing to grow this community and continue to support each other because this is ultimately all for fun. We all love movies. We all love coming on YouTube. We all love talking about movies. So yeah, it's a really amazing community here. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm definitely looking forward to bringing you guys more reviews and more live streams like this very soon. I want to try and do this more often. That's for sure. It's always a real treat to get on here and just shoot the breeze with you guys for a little bit while I have some time. But yeah, thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure, and stay tuned for the next one. Commence that back talk.